Okay. Hopefully, I don't know if there's a countdown or not. Maybe is there a countdown? I don't see a countdown. Uh-oh. Hang
I
on.
don't know.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. I think we're live, Loubna.
Oh, we're alive.
I
Oops.
think we're live. Yes, I believe that we are live right at this very minute. And so I think that's good. Or maybe we're live. I don't know.
Oh, let me see the phone.
I
Oh
just
yeah,
went
we're
to,
live.
we're
I just
live.
got the notification.
Okay. So we are live. I was looking in to see if we were live as well, but I don't see us live. Oh, yeah, there it is live. Let's see.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're live.
Sorry, I had it on. So, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our LinkedIn Live series, Personal Leadership. How do you create your future? We're a couple of minutes early because I thought there was going to be a countdown clock, and there is not a countdown clock. So, there you have it. And you know what, Lubna? I think we should get started in just a minute. I'm going to open up LinkedIn on my phone and see if anybody joins us. Sorry, I got to turn it
Oh,
down all
we've
the way
got
down.
someone. We've got Joshua here live
Yeah.
with us.
Hey, Joshua, it's great to see you, friend. We're going to get started in just one second. We entered the studio a little bit early. Not we thought there would be a countdown, but lesson learned about utilizing StreamYard. But it's great to see you, and we're going to have a really, really great conversation today. This is our first of a three-part series where we're going to talk about personal leadership and how you create your future. Lubna, how are you this afternoon?
Oh, I'm doing absolutely amazing, and I have to say, congratulations. You've done it.
Yes.
You said good afternoon instead of good morning, Sid.
Uh, I did a mental check actually today to say I am going to say good afternoon because of where you're located. It's afternoon. So, and because I normally say good morning and you always correct me. So I got you today.
Yeah. So for those of you, Sid and I have an inside joke.
Yes, we
Because
do.
we're both into different time zones. So every time Sid says good morning, I say, well, good afternoon. And he's like, I'm gonna get it right someday. I'm gonna get it right someday. And today's the day. I
Today's the
hope you
day.
witnessed this.
They did witness it live. So we are right at the top of the hour. Let's get started. I know we've got a couple of people joining us. Janine, great to see you. Joshua, great to see you as well. So we're really excited to be collaborating together to share our insights about personal leadership and how to create your future. Today is part one about discovering your value. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Sid Meadows, and I'm a business strategist and certified professional coach. And I work with entrepreneurs and creators and helping them along their journey of life and business, because as we all know, both of them are intertwined together. And I do that through building a community as well as providing content and coaching to the people that are inside of our community. And in a community is where I met my friend Loubna, who is sitting next to me today. And we've collaborated on a couple of things and decided we're going to jump into this LinkedIn series. So, Loubna, please take a moment, introduce yourself, tell everybody listening who you are and what it is you do and where you're joining us from.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Sid, for having me. And I'm looking forward to doing this three-part series with you. And thank you for you that is watching this live or on the replay. I know that you could be doing anything right now, but you chose to join us. So that is something that I commend you with. So my name is Loubna Zaru, and I live in the Netherlands. So for those of you in the States, that is across the pond. And I am a professional speaker, coach, and mentor, and I work with creators, entrepreneurs. So that's the same. I something I have in common with Sid, but I work with them to help them get more inflow, more in the time, so they're not only working hard and not seeing the results of those efforts, but they're actually seeing results and enjoying their time. And I do that in through building a community, just like Sid. You'll see a lot of commonalities between Sid and myself, and offering inspiration, guides, resources, and coaching to help you to get on that journey.
That's awesome. And, we've only known each other for a few months. And as we have a lot of similarities, we also have a lot of differences. And I think the differences are one of the things that attract us to each other, as well as the similarities, because we are both coaches and we do focus on helping people along their journey. And this is part of it, and really discovering personal leadership and how to create your future. So let's talk for a minute about the importance of this series, because this is the first of a three-part series we'll be doing every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central Time for the next 3 weeks. So, Lubna, from your perspective, why is this conversation important, especially for entrepreneurs?
Yeah. So we're on LinkedIn, and I know that that means that inherently with this platform, and for those of you that are watching on YouTube later on, that's inherently what we're talking about, and the audience that we're talking towards is the focus on professional growth. We learn a lot about knowledge and information that has everything to do with how we grow professionally. And in my experience, and having worked and coached with creators, entrepreneurs for 2 decades, it's the personal growth that matters more than your professional growth. And it's the personal growth that will make the difference for you. So for me, doing this three-part series, the intention behind it, what for me is to let you reflect on you as a person so that you can take that personal leadership. You can take charge of your life and career, whatever that, however that looks like. Because I know that we tend to focus a lot, and I've done it. I've got several titles. I've got more than 2 decade career of focusing on on professional growth, but it wasn't until I focused on me and my personal growth that the real magic started happening.
Oh, that is such a great point because we've talked about this before, and I think a lot of people listening. And welcome, Lawrence or Fuzzy. Welcome, Manny. Great to see you as well as Janine and Joshua with us this morning. Um, so we've talked about this before, Lubna, but there is a direct correlation between your personal growth and the growth of your business or your career, whatever it is you're doing. The two are directly correlated together.
Yeah.
And I learned it wasn't until probably about 5 years ago that I actually discovered personal or professional development, however you like to call it, because I think they're both the same. And, I think I've told you this story, but when I got my first coaching certification, I walked into a room with 25 other people that changed my life because I actually did what you talked about earlier, which is I did the work. And I think that's what's important is doing the work. So for all of you listening, and welcome, Jillian, great to see you. We do have some work for you to do. Each one of these series, each part of the series, we have a little work for you to do because it is important to do the work. Because again, there's a direct correlation between your growth and the growth of your business or your career. So you ready to dive in to today's topic?
I'm ready if you
All
are.
right, let's go. So today's topic in part one of the series is value. And basically, we're going to talk about what value do you offer? Do you really fully know yourself, your talents, your passions, and your purpose? So, with that, Lubna, let me get your definition of value.
Oof. Now, I love, love, love talking about value. And for me, it's connected to self worth. Now, I know that most of you listening to this will associate value with monetary value. There's a dollar sign, a pound sign, a euro sign, or whatever currency you have in your neck of the world. And it is also that, but for me, it's way more because I believe that each and every single one of us is going to be the best version of ourselves. And I know that that's a statement being overused, so it loses value. Again, pun intended with the word, but it is true. When we start working from the inside out, each and every single one of us has unique talents, unique skills, unique gifts, a unique genius that only you have. No one else in the world, even though there are 7.9 billion people in the world, you've got something unique. And it's when we tap into that uniqueness that we provide the best value to ourselves and to others, whatever that scale is that you're using. It could be in your family, it could be in your local area, it could be in your country, it could be on a global scale, which Sid and I are doing right now. We cover 2 continents right now, and there are people watching who are in other parts of the world as well. So for me, it's thinking about what do I have to offer in terms of me, and not necessarily what are my diplomas and titles, because that tells me what you've learned from the outside in, but how have you mixed that together in making it uniquely you?
So it's a really, really great point. And, I'll add to my definition of this is that I also believe that value comes from your experiences and the things that you've learned by doing not just the internal work, but also doing the jobs and experience. Life actually gives us a tremendous amount of insight and value. And I think it's important that we do the work, as you said, to discover the value that we offer. So, Lubna, I'm curious, when you started your entrepreneur journey, did you know the value that you offer? And if you did, is it the same today as it was when you started?
Yes and no.
Mm.
So I started my entrepreneur. It depends on what you define as start. Let me start there
I'll let
because
you decide. I'll let you decide that.
I know because you can be entrepreneurial, which
Mhm.
I've been all my life
Yep.
from a little girl, and I'll give you a story about how that is reflected. But being an entrepreneur didn't happen until May 2010. So that's the date that I went to the Chamber of Commerce and registered myself as an entrepreneur so I could have a side hustle next to my job. But I've always been entrepreneurial. My very first hustle or business, you could say, was selling posters and stickers that my father brought home from work on the side of the street, in the street that I was living at that time. And I made money through that. But
That's
that was,
awesome.
well, multiple decades ago. I'm not going to reveal my age. If you want to
Nor should you. Nor should you.
tell me what my age is, feel free, but it was multiple decades ago. So for me, yes, if I start at when I became an entrepreneur, so in 2010, I knew my value because I had done the personal growth. I had been investing in my personal development for many, many, many years,
Mhm.
and that had everything to do with my very first job, where I left university and hits and met someone who said, I'm not going to do what you want me to do, and said, with all that I've learned at university, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do
Yeah.
here. I haven't been taught how to deal with a human being that is
Mm.
resistant to change and transformation. And I had to learn about human behavior. I had to learn about psychology. I had to learn about why do we think the way that we do? Why do we do the things that we do? For me, and then how do I influence someone else if
Mhm.
I'm helping and guiding people in transformation? So I've always been a coach, always coached people, always guided people, always had people asking me questions or wanted to have a conversation with me, and just me listening. It didn't
Yeah.
even require more than that. But it wasn't until I met this 50-plus-year-old professor in lung disease who just said, it's not happening. And I thought, what do I do now?
Oh, interesting. So I want to keep going on this, but I want us to go back for just a quick second because that was a great story. But let's talk about how you discover your value. So, are there practical steps from your perspective, Lubna, that would allow someone to discover their value? I know we talked about doing the work, but let's get really practical here on how can you discover your value?
Yeah. So if you were to sit down now with a blank page and said, or even answer the question, what is your value? So let us know in the
Mhm.
comments.
Yes,
If
please.
we're asking you this, what is your value right here, right now? What would you say? And in my experience, you either think, I have no idea, I don't have any value. Category number one. Number two is, I may know what my value is, but I'm not really sure if that's really value. Category number two. Or maybe you're someone who falls in category number three who says, yeah, I know exactly my value. I am a director of, or a coach of, or a speaker of. That's
Okay.
bucket number three. And each one of these is good. Whatever it is for you right now, that's good enough for now. What we want you to do is to go a level deeper, because to say you're a coach doesn't tell me a lot about your value, because Sid is a coach and I'm a coach, but believe you me, we do two different things.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
approach coaching a different way.
Mhm.
And as a result, provide different value. And we're two different people. We have different talents, different skills, different backgrounds, different cultures, different countries, different. I could go on and
Yes.
fill up the list. So that's not enough to let someone know what your value is. For me, one of the ways that I've discovered it is listening to other people. telling me, oh, I just admire that in you. Oh, wow, you did that fast, or you did that quick, or, well, where did you get that from? Which is great, because most of the time I would say, yeah, but it's nothing. And it
Yep.
wasn't until a coach many years ago told me, you better start listening to when someone tells you that,
Yep.
because for you it's nothing, it's natural, it happens before you even realize it. But for someone else it's valuable, because what you did had an impact. So I would say, start noticing what people say about you. And if you're ready for next level, another way to do it, and I know that we're going to share with you an activity that
Yes.
I came up with an hour ago. At
Yep.
least the title of the activity was an hour ago. The process I've used many, many, many times. But another way to do this is to go out and ask a couple of people. Now, it's very important that you ask people from different circles. So you ask family members, friends, peers. The question, what do you admire in me? The only thing that you need to do is write it down, and say thank you, because it's going to come up with you for you that when someone says, this is what I admire, and you're going to say, yeah, but it's nothing. Yeah, but for this activity we just want you to write it down,
Mhm.
and then go through, what are some of the patterns, what are some of the things that people have told me, and can I think of situations or experiences where that made sense for me, and what was the impact that it had in that moment in time, and you'll discover a lot about your value.
All right, so I want to go back, and that was such a great point, and I loved that question. But I want to go back for just a minute. The question was, how do you discover your value? And then you kind of said there were three components, right? The first one is, I don't know my value, where we are. The second one, please remind us of the second one because I didn't write it down fast enough. So the first one is, I don't know. Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. This is one of those moments when I get into flow, I may not remember exactly what I said. So thank God we have the recording, but I needed those couple of seconds to think back what I said. So category number one is, I have no idea. Category number two is, I think I know, but I'm not entirely sure.
Got it. And then the third one is, I absolutely 100% know.
Yeah, I'm a coach, a speaker, a director, and you get
Sure.
titles.
Yep, yep, And then I really appreciate the aspect of listening. I think that is something that all of us is probably our most underdeveloped skill, because it is truly a skill. It's also an art, I believe, in listening and being present in a conversation. So listening to what people are telling you, it can be really hard to pay attention, to listen, and to actually hear what other people are telling you, especially if it's a compliment, right? Or if it's praising you for something, because we don't always take praise as well. I know I get a little humbled by it at times, or embarrassed when people say, oh, you're such a great coach, or this or that. But then the third point was, ask. Just ask the question to, I would say, a variety of people. Maybe it's colleagues, maybe it's a current boss, maybe it's a former boss, maybe it's someone that you don't have the best relationship with, so you get a different perspective, and ask them, what do you admire in me? I might even change that to say, what do you think my strengths are, or what do you believe I am really good at? And then receive that information. Don't
Yeah.
counter it, don't discuss it, don't argue it, just receive that information, and you're going to learn a lot from that process.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all you need to do, because it's not about, are they right or are they wrong? They are sharing their perspective, their perception of you. And it's their perception. So it's their truth. It might not be yours, but it's
Right.
their perception. I'll give you an example. One of my coach clients a couple of years ago was a secretary at a large organization. And she came to me. She said, look, I need some help. And her problem was that she was always asked to organize the events for the organization. She said, I know I'm really good at it, because and I enjoyed doing it in the past, and I know I'm good at it, but I don't enjoy doing it anymore. I don't like doing it anymore, because it became repetitive for her, and because it became repetitive, became something that she could, what's the word I'm looking for? Predict. So it didn't make it enjoyable for her in any way,
Sure.
shape, or form. So her value was she was the one that every single person went to when there was an event to be organized, but she didn't enjoy it. How do I change it? That was her question. Um, and that's important because you will find that other people will say, well, if you want something to know, go to XYZ. I had that so many. If you want someone to connect you to, go to Loubna. Or if you want something to know, an author or a concept, go to Loubna. Loubna knows everything. It ended up me getting the nickname Loubnapedia, which is fun.
That is true, actually. That's spot on. I'm going to start calling you that now. Russell, Russell's listening. Welcome, Russell, Jillian, and Teresa. We have a new nickname for Loubna, Loubnapedia. I think it is perfect.
And I fully embrace that value of mine.
Well, we had asked the question to the audience and those of you that are just joining us. And thanks to everybody that's listening with us today and joining us. If you're watching on the replay, we appreciate you being part of this conversation. But we'd asked the question, what is your value? And Jillian answered it for us. I'll put it up on the screen. My value is my discovery. I really, really like that. I would love to hear from Russell or anybody else, Fuzzy, anybody else joining us. Tell us what your value is. We'd love to hear from you. So, Loubna, as we go into that, um, let's go back to the question I asked you a couple of minutes ago. What is your value?
Ooh. One of my value, or actually the best value that I can provide is I help people gain clarity, focus, and momentum with lightning speed. I don't take a lot of time.
That's just so spot on. I see that too from you in a regular basis. So I want to share one of mine, and it took me a while to actually understand this one. Um, and I didn't realize I was doing it until multiple people had brought it to my attention, kind of to you. People had said to me, and it was solving complex problems.
Ooh,
That if you put
nice.
a problem in front of me, one of the biggest values that I offer is I can see multiple sides to the problem and I can come up with creative ways to solve the problem. And so, again, I asked somebody, I did the exercise. I asked someone that I'd worked with for 10 years, what he thought that I did the best. And I will never forget it. He goes, Sid is great at you're great at solving complex problems. And I went, I never thought about that. And then when I reflected back on some of the things I've been doing in that career, that is one of the things that I had been doing is solving those problems. And Kurt, thanks for joining us. Great to see you, friend. Kurt's value is servant leadership, showing up
Nice.
here on the screen. And I think that is also really good. Not just servant leadership, but value in being a leader and a leader of people, if you will. So, all right, Loubna, what is another value that you offer?
Another value that I offer is I am really good, and I enjoy doing it, in breaking down complex concepts into easy to consume information.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying these, and I see them coming out from you. Lubin and I have coffee every morning together in the metaverse with about 50 or 60 other entrepreneurs, and we're always up talking and sharing our insights. And I see that one come out in you very much so. Really, really
How
good.
about you, Sid? What's
So
another one for you?
so this one was also hard for me to lean into for a lot of different reasons, which is one of the biggest values that I offer is inspiration and motivation. I
I see that.
never really realized how inspirational the stories that I tell, or sharing a little bit of my journey with people, or the concepts that I've come up with throughout my journey, whether it's a framework or my thoughts on certain things like failure or leadership or whatever it is, how that motivates and inspires other entrepreneurs and creators around me. I had no idea.
Well, that's great. And for those of you that are paying attention, you may or not be aware, all of the values that Sid and I have shared up to this point are very, really, very up chunked. Okay, so
Very
they're
up
very
what?
high level.
Okay. Yep.
So they're very high level, so they can show up in different forms and different variations. So
Mhm.
you heard us introduce ourselves as a coach and a speaker. Uh, but our real value is in gaining clarity, focus, and momentum with lightning speed, in in translating complex concepts into easy consume, into inspiration, motivation. There are all things that we can apply in different title categories. We can
Yep.
apply it as a coach, which helps a lot tremendously. We can apply it in speaking, we can apply it in auditing, we can apply it in furniture, we can apply it in corporate, we can apply it for entrepreneurs. And you may not be there. If you had asked me the question, what's your value 20 years ago when I started my career, my very first job, I'd more than likely would have told you I am an IT consultant.
And I
Is
would have
that
responded that I'm a salesperson because I
that's
could sell anything to almost anybody, right? So sorry, keep going because I think it's a really,
yeah,
really great point. As our value that we provide has evolved as we have grown.
yeah. So if you're one of those that are thinking, yeah, but I can't get past the sales consultant or the IT consultant, that's fantastic. That's where I started. That's where Sid started.
Mhm.
And just hold on to that, embrace that for now. Just know that as time passes by, it's going to evolve. It's going to be more, no matter, not job related, not a function related, not even branch, or it's going to be to a level of I can do this anywhere, any place, anytime. It doesn't really matter. I don't have to say I'm a director, a sales consultant, IT consultant. That's where am I applying my value,
Yeah,
if that makes any
100%.
sense.
No, it absolutely does. And I see that we got a couple more people joining us. We'd love to hear what your value is. So we've had a couple drop your value down in the comments so we can share it up on the screen. But Loubna, we agreed that we would do 3 of these in a 3-part series for 30 minutes.
Correct.
And we've got about 6 minutes left. And I think it's important that we start talking about and shift this conversation for a minute to really understanding the action that we want people to take. So, why, since you came up with this particular concept, let's talk about it for a few minutes. And then, if we've got any time left, we'll open it up for any questions for anybody that's joining us. So, talk
Yeah,
about
awesome.
the value vault.
Oh, yeah, the value vault. So both Sid and I, we didn't get to where we are today by just consuming information, which is what you've been doing for the past 27 minutes. You've been
Mhm.
consuming information that Sid and I have been sharing with you. We got to where we are today by taking action, by implementing what we've learned, and we want to help you. We want to guide you in that implementation. So the activity, or even your mission, to should you choose to accept it, is to create your value vault. So you're going to create a vault that consists of your value, and we're going to tell you how to do this, because I can imagine it being a difficult, or maybe even your mind is going, well, how do I do that, where do I start? Don't worry. What we would like you to do is grab a blank page, draw a line over that page, and then break down your life up to this point in 5 or 3 year segments. That's all you need to do. And then every 3 or 5 years, you can decide what you want to do. Think of an accomplishment, an achievement, something that you have done, and it could be literally anything and everything. This doesn't happen in the very first 15 minutes. It might take you a week, it might take you a month. And it's not about perfection. You don't need to write down 25 or 50 of the achievements, but we want your mind to start thinking about what has gotten me to today. What are some of the things that I've achieved that I didn't think I was going to achieve? What have I achieved that was really easy? And just write them down. And when you've done that, take that blank piece of page, just put it away, sleep on it, and then the next day look at it with a fresh pair of eyes and start thinking, what's the value in this event or series of events? What does it tell me about me, my talents, my gifts, my skills? And be very selfish.
Oh, that's so good. I'm drawing it as literally on my piece of paper here as you're describing it because I think it's a phenomenal exercise because there's so much power in thinking back, right? And going back in your career, your journey as an entrepreneur, and really thinking about all the things that you accomplished, or maybe the achievements that you had along the way. And then, write down the years and then write down what it was you accomplished. If there's an asterisk or something that you want to remember, I was doing this when I accomplished that. And then the best part of what you said is first we had reflection slash journaling. Okay. That's what that part is. Second part is put it away for
Okay.
24 hours.
Yep.
Sleep on it. Don't make any hasty decisions. And the third step is to come back and review it and look for the value. And then I'll add to that, write down the value that you see in those accomplishments and see how that aligns with where you are today.
Yeah. And the reason I ask you to do it on a blank piece of paper is because I want you to hold on to that paper. I want you to put it somewhere that you can look at it each and every single day to remind your mind about all of the things and your own value. So that's the importance of doing this on a
Yep.
piece of paper. If you are a digitally inclined person, do it digitally, but then save it as your background on your device so that if every
Love
time you
that.
open up your device, you can see it if
Mhm.
that's your preference.
So, Lubna, I was reading, it's over here behind me, Steal Like an Artist. I was reading it and listening to it this morning, and I was kind of journaling along the way with it. And the part that I got to this morning was the part where he talked about analog versus digital, and that he really encourages you to do analog first because it gets your creative juices flowing.
Yep.
And there's something about drawing or writing or doodling on a piece of paper that is way better and more creative for you, more inspiring, if you will, than just sitting at a keyboard pecking away and typing. So I'm with Lubna. Write it down, be creative, grab some colored pens if you want to make it pretty and decorative, whatever gets you in the flow to write it all down, then write it all down. And with that, Lubna, that's a great exercise. We're excited. You don't have to do, the only person you have to hold accountable to completing it is you yourself, right?
Yep.
But we did want to give you a takeaway of something that you could do that would help you discover your value. And so before we talk about what we're going to do next week, I wanted to give Lubna, and then I'll do the same thing, an opportunity to talk about the community that you're building. So Lubna, take it away.
The community that I'm building is called Flow Club. And it's a place where you can get inspiration, meet like minded people who are a journey who want to tap into flow, want to tap into coming up with activities, focusing on their personal growth so that they can live a better quality of life. And if you want to know more, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to share more about you or send you an invite to become a part of. It's a free community. Anyone is welcome. But if you value the importance of surrounding yourself with people who are working on the same thing so that you can get inspired when you need to and get the support when you need to and get people to show up for you consistently, then consider this your invitation to join Flow Club. You're going to
That's
share about Journey Club,
I
Sid?
sure am. That's super awesome, Libna. I'm glad that you shared it. So, the community that I'm building is called the Journey Club, and basically, it's a metaverse community. excuse me, for entrepreneurs and creators, and we're a dedicated group that provides insights, expertise, motivation, accountability when you need it, and from passionate professionals just like me and just like you. And our goal is to support you along your journey of life and business, because I said in the very beginning, they are connected together, and there's a direct correlation between your personal success and your personal growth, as well as the personal success or the business success and growth of your business. So if you're interested in joining us in our community, just shoot either one of us a direct message here on LinkedIn. We're happy to send you an invitation. As Lubna said, both of our communities are free, and we have a lot of activities happening over there. So we'd love to see you come and join us and be part of what we're building in the metaverse. So that's we'll talk about that later. But Lubna, tell us what's coming up next Tuesday in part 2. Do you
Okay,
remember?
part two. Remember the inside out, living from the inside out? Well, there's one part that has to be part of this three-part series, which is your personal values, because those are your compass. That's your compass. That's important. You may not be aware of them right now, but you have to become aware of them because every time you feel wobbly, I can almost guarantee you is because one or more of your personal values is not being met. So we're going to dive into values.
Yeah, I'm excited about the personal values and really understanding what are your core values and which one of them matter the most to you. And I've done this exercise. We're going to talk about values. We're going to give you an exercise to do. It's really, really powerful. I'll give you a little hint. I have mine stacked up on sticky notes up on my wall because I think it is important, as you mentioned in the beginning of this one or later in this one, was to put it up so that you can see what your values. So today we talked about value. Next week, we're talking about values, right? And then in the last part of this series, which will be on Tuesday, July the 12th, we'll be talking about vision and what do you want your future to be. So I hope each and every one of you will come back and join us. Look for these events to be scheduled. The one for next week will be scheduled today. So look for it so you can RSVP to it. Loubna, our first LinkedIn Live, we had 20 people join us today. Thank you, everyone that came in and hung out with us for a few minutes today. Any final part or words from you today, Loubna, before we wrap things up?
Have fun and more flow.
That is spectacular. And I'll just leave each and every one of you with just a thought or to remind you that you have the choice to choose to make your day great and go out there and do that today. We'll see you again soon. Take care, everyone.